I'll sort of pick up where a lot left off. This is actually an opportunity for us to find ways to work together with our friends across the aisle to come up with some solutions that will actually help to reduce crime as well as reduce the prison population. And the thing to understand, I was a prosecutor for many years. The law's right about diversion. It's an amazing way to take somebody who otherwise would become a criminal, have a conviction, and instead be put into a situation where they can actually get their life back on the right track. Because we all know that once they have that conviction, everything gets a lot harder for them. So that's one thing. That's a very important thing. But the biggest predictor of whether or not a person will commit a crime and go to jail is whether they have committed a crime and gone to jail in the past. And so what we can do is that we can find ways to take people who have gone through the justice system when they come out and give them the resources that they need to successfully reintegrate into their communities and make money and be contributors. That's the way that we actually reduce crime as well as reducing what we're doing in our prisons. And the problem there is that it's not a Band-Aid solution. It has to be a wraparound services solution. Because, yes, mental health is important. We have to do that. Job placement is important. Job training is important. But all those things have to be there because as soon as one of them falls down, then the person is back in the same situation. So we have to start thinking holistically. But I think there's a recognition now on both sides of the aisle that that's the way that we can effectively do it in a cost-efficient way and actually make people safer at the same time that we're keeping people out of prison.
Town hall forum that Cori Bush had a few nights ago. She's a candidate for Congress here in St. Louis area, and she had a panel of folks who had done their time and now were out, and some of them were still on parole, some of them were not, and they were able to give their stories about what it was like to be in these jails, in prison, where they don't have adequate health care, where they don't have the basic heat and cooling, and there were probably more rats in the prison than there were inmates. And, so I never really had an opportunity or the experience to hear from the people who are actually going through this system. And so it reminded me that a lot of times as quote-unquote politicians and people who work and have been elected and have served in Jefferson City, there are politicians who come up with a great solution. They come up with a bill, and they write this bill, and it's going to solve this problem. And they're very proud of it, except that it doesn't actually address a problem. It's a solution in search of a problem. And so when I'm looking at an issue like this, and I'm trying to figure out, well, what's the best way to solve these problems, you have to talk to the people who have been having these experiences. And you have to get their input. Because if not, you're just coming up with something that makes you feel good and doesn't solve the issue at hand. So that's what I would say about this, and I know that I don't have the answer. I know that, so that's why I'm on a quest for information about issues that I don't know enough about.
So the next question is, what will you do or have done to help candidates down the ballot?
A lot. So of those 300 plus meetings, a lot of those are with state representative candidates throughout our state. We have wonderful folks who are running for office, and they need help. They need to get there, because you can elect any one of us. And now I know if I get elected, I'm going to sue the pants off some people. But I would really love some help in the legislature especially, and in all of the statewide offices, because we need folks who are going to change the way things are being done in a lot of different ways. And that means our laws have to change quite a bit too. So we actually have been very focused on helping state representative candidates fundraise, on helping them get organized for the first time, and helping new folks run for office. There's some folks here who I had the opportunity to help in their first runs as well. So that's something that we're very committed to. We have a huge volunteer base all around the state. We've been working on this for a very long time. I feel very passionate about it. And I've actually recruited candidates well before I was ever running for anything too. So I feel very, very strongly that we need to get as many people as possible involved in our civic engagement system, period. So yeah, I think it's very important.
I don't even like the expression down ballot. I agree with everything Alon said. This is an effort that we are all united in together. The people on the stage are united in it together, and we have to unite with the people who are running in their communities all across the state, rural places, urban places, doesn't matter. We need to have great candidates filling all those offices because we're going to try to shake as many hands as we can across the state over the course of the next year. But those are the people who are in their communities and can help to advocate for us if we help to advocate for them. So I'm also, as a lot, is very committed to making sure that we're recruiting candidates. There are still some offices where we are missing candidates. And so there are some active people in this room. I don't know if any of you might be interested in thinking about running for something and where you are from. But we just need people getting out there to help us do our job of running statewide. And if you all are doing that, we will help you as well. Because, she's not here today, but our state party chair, Jean Peters Baker, is absolutely committed to making sure that we have enough candidates to have a strong ballot so there's somebody for them to look for, for your voter to look for, all the way down that ticket to know that there's somebody they can support and trust for every single office. So I'm absolutely committed to getting people engaged in the electoral process.
Quote-unquote down ballot is where I'm used to living. I've lived down that ballot for my entire political career until this race. I'm going to give a plug for It Starts Today. Mike's right over there. And this is something newfangled stuff they didn't have way back when I was running for state rep. But what it is it's a way for you to commit to a certain dollar amount every month that will then be given to every single Democrat nominee who's running for their either state representative or state senate. And so what it does is it creates a team. We all are on a team, and ultimately politics is an individual sport. Each one of us is going to either win or lose, and we have to do our thing. But when you have a team of people that you can do this work with, it makes us all stronger. I'll say one of the reasons I decided to get back into politics was because of my experience winning and my experience losing. I know what it's like to be on both sides of that coin. And I know that this experience I have is something we need to use to recruit more people. Running for office isn't rocket science. I can tell you I have not served with rocket scientists when you get to Jefferson City. We serve with a lot of people who are good at what they do, who are passionate, who care about their communities. And so if you ever want to talk to somebody who's been there, talk to somebody who has been in the trenches, talk to someone who's been a working mom every single time she's run for office, come call me, talk to me. My staff person Taylor's right there. She'll give you a card with my cell phone number on it. Or if you know somebody who's thinking about running, I am running for state treasurer. I'm running specifically for a statewide office so I can try to recruit more women, people of color, more people who match their communities so that we can work harder in Jefferson City. Also give some money to It Starts Today. Also.
This is in a phrase about working together. When I was at West Point, the official model of the academy is duty, honor, country. The unofficial model is cooperate and graduate. Because as cadets, you've got to work together. You can't graduate without working with your classmates. And it's the same up here. All of us have to work together now, trading notes, talking to each other. There's 6 million plus people in this state. It's too big for any one of us to think we can do by ourselves. So it's about working together so that we can get as many of us elected to office as possible.
Okay, so this area suffers from out-of-town companies owning and allowing properties to sit idle and deteriorate in the urban area. And I think this is for our Attorney General, other people can have. What will you do as AG to prevent this from continuing to be a problem?
Well, yes, a lot mentioned earlier, this is an absolute travesty. It's unbelievable to think that a company could do this and people that they are supposed to be renting their property to literally have them in a situation where they have to get space heaters, and I read something about them actually leaving the oven on to heat their home in order to be able to survive. I mean, that's just absolutely unacceptable. When there is a role for the Attorney General to go after that kind of behavior, when a company is breaking the law, and that is a violation of the law, the Attorney General has the power to do something about it. And in fact, our Senator Josh Hawley has even called upon our current Attorney General, Eric Schmidt, to do something about it, and Eric Schmidt has so far done nothing. So you can be assured that by the time that either Alon or I is sitting in the Attorney General's office, we will have done something to make sure that that sort of behavior does not happen again.
I'm going to disagree with one thing, only in that our Attorney General isn't doing anything. Oh, he's doing plenty. He's taking their money. And it's not just folks who are out of town. Paul McKee lives here. Now, he doesn't live in the city. He goes and he lives out in the county line, lets all these properties sit vacant and lets them rot. Since I've been teaching, for more than 10 years since I've been teaching, the properties around Lexington Elementary have been caving in because of that guy. And that guy has bought himself an Attorney General. He took $43 million in tax credits, our money, to redevelop these places. You notice anything different? Our Attorney General at the time, Josh Hawley, sued this guy. And then a new Attorney General came in, who just so happened to take a bunch of money from Paul McKee, and Paul McKee's sons, and Paul McKee's attorneys, and Paul McKee's corporations, and then within 6 months he settles a $43 million potential claim for $323,000. And then he donated dark money to the Attorney General. The only reason we know he donated money was because when an investigative reporter asked, where did this money come from? And he saw that this EC1 Fund LLC, whatever the heck it was called, had donated to a state senator in Nixa and called him and said, do you know who this is? He said, well, give me a second. And he gets back on the phone and he's like, oh yeah, I got a thank you letter for him right here. That's Joe McKee. The only reason that we know that he took money from these people is because a state senator made a mistake. With dark money, the donor sure knows where that money is coming from because it's their money. The recipient, candidate, or elected official sure knows where it's coming from. They write their thank you cards, but the public has no idea. So not only are we going to go after these folks who are scamming Missourians, but we're going to go after these dark money groups too. They need to get out of the state.
I would add is the treasurer also sits on the board of the Missouri Housing Development Corporation and also has some say over low-income housing tax credits. My opponent, our current treasurer, had a lot to do with taking away those low-income housing tax credits when he was the budget chair. And so I'm looking forward to the opportunity to put those back in place because we need options for everybody.
So basically, I want you to give a hand because it's like, I said 3 o'clock. I end on time. 2:55. There's no minute. Come listen to the candidates. We wanted to, get them in front of you before next year, and things started just snowballing real fast. So you had an opportunity to vet, to hear from them, to get some questions asked. They will be around. You can get their information. They have websites. They have contact people. It's important for you to contact them individually and get your question asked so you can make an educated decision on who to vote for in 2020. I want to thank you all. I want to thank any other elected official that came in late. Just wave your hand. Anybody that sits on the state Democratic Party, thank you. I appreciate you all.
And let's give it up for Senator May. She has got many applause yesterday. She put all this together. She's working hard for you, and we really appreciate all the work you represent.
And we want to thank all the board for giving us this space today. We appreciate it. Like I said, this is a great event space that is North Delmar for you to come and engage people. We got to become one community across the state and not be so divided. That's how we move Missouri into the future. We got to get out of the past and move to the future. And it's okay to move forward together.